Hello everyone, I have here the LEGO Star Wars Captain Rex helmet. This has 854 pieces and I built it in split streams back to back between the old JANG Bricks channel and the JANG Twitch channel live. And I bought it for $70 US. You can find it tagged on this video. The build for this one was delightfully complex. It had a lot of building in many different directions, and it just felt like I needed to remain a little bit more engaged with the build process and with the instructions than in the average one of these helmets from this line. You know, it just had a lot of different things going on. Not a whole lot of symmetry. Obviously, there's some around the back and around the top, but with the order of operations, you are not doing both sides at the same time or anything like that. You've got quite some time, quite some distance between the different segments. And overall, first impressions for me are good. However, there is something there's something that's especially good here and there's something that's especially bad. Let's start from the top. Much of the dome is familiar texture and familiar shaping, but the JAG or JAG, I is not going to get into a pronunciation debate here. Those are extra special, and I saw that immediately from the pictures, and this matches what I saw in the pictures. Thank goodness. We're 1 for 3 with things lining up with the official product photos. This is just as good. All this build in here with the physical design, the physical parts that are creating shapes on multiple planes here. Those are pretty darn perfect. I could not possibly have asked for anything better for those. Personally, I think that they are expertly placed. I think that they're just right. Are they absolute perfection? No, but given that this is Lego, you know, in fact, like you can see the blue around the side here, ideally that should be closed off, but then I would have changed the shape here, would have made it more blocky. I accept this completely. It does rely on one sticker right there in the middle, and that's fine. It's detail. It's too small, I believe, to do in Lego form, but all this right here is really good. That's fantastic. It didn't feel too special, honestly, putting it together. A couple of these on the front felt a little bit satisfying, but the rest of it is done in so many different parts, so distinct. It doesn't all come together at once, and it just kind of felt like it happened. So the build experience, not great, but the end result, what matters the most, very good. Tally marks here, not the correct number of them. That's fine, because more of them would require changing the shape even further. Those do use stickers. Those could have been a print, since there are 4 of the same piece, 2 there and then 2 over here. The rangefinder is nice. It sticks way in. The connection for it sticks way inside, and it's able to be rotated down. Pretty much stops itself in the appropriate place and goes, if it's pushed in all the way, it should stop itself right about there. Yeah, it actually ends up leaning a little bit forward because it kind of has a little bit of recoil to it, but I can get that to stay in a vertical position if I want to for a long-term display, which is all good. The temple band, I think, is pretty good. There's a tiny little gap here, but at least I don't see any weird color behind it. Once again, no weird colors are showing through from most realistic display angles. Yeah, all this here is feeling good to me, down to the visor. The visor works completely for me. Yes, total satisfaction from me for this entire phase 1 style of visor. You know, Rex has his unique, highly customized setup with part phase 1, part phase 2. It's not a phase 1.5. It's just his own unique thing, and this is just right. And once again, it relies only upon genuine Lego building. You have different angles. So there's one angle for this little sub-assembly here, another angle for this sub-assembly, another angle for the nose, which actually angles forward a little bit. All that is really good. I like these little bits here. Stickers are used for the vent holes on the sides. Those could have been a print as well. I believe those are all, no, these are 2x2s, whereas these are 1x4s. If they had done them all as 1x2s, they could have done those as a print potentially, but I'm personally just not mad at those being stickers. The welds are able to be brought together. So you got 2 pieces here with 2 different stickers that are able to be placed very close together, which really helps this to look like a continuous line. And although right here it has to break from so many angles, this feels right. It feels continuous to me. That is nice. Yeah, very, very satisfied with that. Happy with how that worked out. What I'm not happy with at all, still, after building this, is the mouth. Now, the mouth does use printed pieces, so those two gray wedge plates in there are printed with black, which is very nice. But the mouth is just too dang small. It's just so narrow. It's worse than the Darth Vader one, in my opinion. I think this comes closest, maybe. There are a number of different interpretations of the Rex helmet out there, depending upon where you look. I think this comes closest to the depiction we saw in Rebels, I think, overall, but then the whole thing is definitely narrower up top. It's a little bit more sleek than the Rebels version, which is very, very bulky, a little bit more Family Guy Blue Harvest style, overdone. No matter what, though, the mouth just remains too small. It doesn't bother me as much today as it did when I first saw this revealed, and I'll explain why a little bit more. The cheek inset here has a nice shape to it. You see the piece that they use there? It's that piece that they introduced for Speed Champions for headlights to be printed on. That's used to really great effect in there. That's one that didn't feel amazing when assembling it, but after the fact, that is great. It's such an advanced shape in a Lego part to be integrated in there. I think it just adds so much overall. And of course, down to the base, it's just a standard base that does use a print right here. It's too bad they got the CFL little copyright mark on the front. I feel like that detracts from just making it feel a little bit more grown up. You have a little bit of extra shaping down here as well. So if you're looking at it from a lower angle, you're seeing more depth. And as you get farther underneath, you're not seeing a lot of weird colors once again. If you look closely enough, you'll see a little bit, but most of the time, if you just have this up on a high shelf, you're not going to be ultimately disturbed, I think, by weird stuff that's on the inside. Overall, the impression that most of this gives is positive and good. It just has a tiny mouth. These are the leftover or spare parts, including 2 extra tires that are used for the breather tube outlets or inlets on the front. Those assemblies left to right are done very far apart from each other, which is why they end up having 2 extras, because they're in separate bags entirely. And then this is what the sticker sheet looks like. It's quite a fair number of stickers, but it makes sense given what we saw, all the decorations that are on it. The price again is $70 US. It's 70 euros, 60 pounds UK. And that still feels like too much to me, but at least this is one of the more bulky, one of the more massive and also large helmets in the line. So that helps a little bit. It helps it to feel not quite as bad. At least there's relatively a lot of stuff here. It does have a relatively high piece count and a longer build, I think, than most. And all of that does have some value. All in all, I think this makes for a very nice display model. I think it makes for a very nice Lego helmet set. I think it makes for a pretty respectable helmet display in general. Not the greatest Captain Rex replica. Of course, we're limited by Lego. We're limited by the system. We're limited by the medium itself. But I really feel like that mouth is just disturbingly small. It really detracts. I think it's the type of thing where either you see it and it really bugs you, or your eyes kind of pass over and it doesn't bug you at all because you're looking more at the high level. I think if you look at the trees, and specifically the leaves of the trees, then you can get really bugged by this. If you pay attention to the tree in the forest, kind of level of specificity and resolution, you've got something really good here. As far as these go, I think that this one will present itself well. It's mostly going to be for folks who are looking for accuracy, or are not going to like that part there. And I think it should have been able to be done better. This does tend to pop off when I mess with it. It's I think the 3rd helmet in a row where I've done that accidentally, but it's not an issue because this is intended to just sit on a shelf somewhere, and that's perfectly fine. At least it does look, I'd say, equally good all the way around from different angles. And again, not having funky colors on the inside is good. Clearly, the Lego designers have listened to fan feedback about that. They're being a lot more careful with it, especially with these higher end models. One of these days, maybe we'll get the blue pins out of big Technic sets and things again. Maybe they'll hear that feedback. I don't know. That might be a tougher battle, but at least this is done pretty well. Most of it. That one, to me, very obvious exception. Those are my thoughts, though. Thank you very much for watching. I've got a lot more content to bring you, so I'll keep working. I'll talk to you again soon.